Obviously yesterday Larry advised myself and our chair Steve Old that he was transitioning the ownership of our club to Altor Capital, who are represented here today by their Chief Investment Officer Ben Harrison. Larry's obviously been working with Ben and Altor Capital over a number of months, and also in the background, also with the club, to ensure that this transaction could take place. And it's a really, really exciting day for the club. On a personal note, having been at the club since day one, there is a sense of pride in the fact that there has been such a strong interest. I think something like 30 companies looked at purchasing the club, with Altor Capital eventually being the outcome. But certainly pride in the club and what we've created here in Tasmania. I think we're a robust club, not just on the court, but off the court and financially, and that's what investors are going to look for. I think this club's journey started with the support of the Tasmanian government as a sponsor, and once they had committed to that, the halo effect then meant that there were many other Tasmanian businesses that have got behind it, and those businesses are really buoyed and supportive of the transition of this ownership.
This is a beloved team. What is your first question to any new buyer when they're looking at coming in and purchasing the team and taking over essentially?
My statement has been to Ben and any other potential owners that this team is part of the fabric of Tasmania. It is not something that, this is something that the people of Tasmania genuinely care about, and it is the team for the whole state, and that they need to understand that we fit really, I guess, right into the fabric. People have compared us to as being the new Mona. So it's important that our new owners understand that and the role that we play in our community. We are a community club, and we do a lot of work around the state in that sense, and we want the transition to embrace that, and which of course Ben has said that they will.
Aside from that, were there any particular boxes that you want to tick as CEO of the club from any new owner that was coming in?
Look, obviously my number one concern is to make sure that the people that have built this club are looked after as part of the transition. And Ben made a very early statement to me he didn't want to come into a disrupted club, and nor did he want to disrupt the club. And that gave me a sense that what he was going to be purchasing off Larry was something that he loved what was in place already. We're very proud of what's in place, and I'm going to work with Ben to really make sure that this club grows and thrives into the future.
How's the news been sort of taken throughout the organisation, the front office staff, the players and everybody involved?
We got all the staff involved on a call yesterday to make sure that they were the very first people that knew about that. That is something that's very, very important to me. Our people make this club, and so we have made sure that everybody that's been part of this club, especially since the beginning, was part of that call yesterday, including a number of our foundation partners who backed us in right at the beginning when we didn't have a coach or a player.
How much has the team sold for?
I think that's a transaction that's taken place between these two gentlemen. I haven't asked that question, and obviously that's for them. All I'm very pleased about is that Ben looked at us as an opportunity and one that they wanted to seize, and I'm just very pleased about that.
And just last night, MVP, you must be pretty proud of Jordan. How did that go?
It was a wonderful night, a great celebration of not just Jordan Crawford and the outstanding season that he had, but also of Clint Steindl retiring as our captain, and someone that contributed 356 games to the NBL. He's done so much for basketball in Australia, and he's been an important spiritual leader of this club since the beginning. So last night was just a beautiful celebration of all of those things.
Lovely. Thank you, Christine. Larry, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I do. What a journey. What a journey. I remember my first meeting with Premier Will Hodgman and talking about the possibility of this club. I feel like I've met, exaggerating, but I feel like I've met every business person, every person that supported the club over the years, and how much love has been built is only just proof to what has been created here in Tasmania. It's a special, it's much more than a club. It's a special feeling that it brings to so many people. So when we started, at the very outset, we said that it's not something that I can actually hold for the rest of my life, which I would actually love to. Just to be clear, if I could, I would actually continue to be owner of the JackJumpers with my role at the NBL and what I do. From the outset, we said our job is to build something special for Tasmania. The values of this club were set from the start, that it's for all of Tasmania. As a mainlander, I didn't even understand why there is a north and south conversation. But for me, it was so important that JackJumpers are a community club. That's something that delivers for the people of Tasmania all around, and I feel that's very well entrenched. and I know Ben and his team will continue to do that. So I think we're just delivering on what we originally said we would do. I feel great about where the club is at and what has been established, and also the way this transaction is going to be handled is by way of a transition and a handover. So I will be involved with the club for 2 more years and help make sure that the transition is a smooth one. It was a very easy decision to want to do that. So I love coming to Tasmania. I love what's been created with the JackJumpers, and this allows me for 2 more years to just keep building on what has been done in the first 4 or 5 years through some pretty traumatic times with COVID in the middle and lots of challenges of getting the stadium up and running and building a team from scratch. But to be clear, I have absolutely loved it. I love coming to Tasmania. I now have family here. You know, my son is married to a local girl with lots of local family, and I've got plenty of reasons to continue to come to Tasmania, and both for family reasons and for business reasons. And JackJumpers are always going to be part of my DNA and history of what's been created. It'll have a special place in my heart, and always love coming to this fantastic venue.
First question people are going to ask is, how much did you fetch for the team? Are you happy to speak to that, and are you happy to speak to also what becomes of some of the proceeds for the team?
Yeah, I don't think it's probably appropriate to talk exact numbers, and you know, if Ben wishes to, that's his call. But what I'll say is, I think it's a respectful number. I think it's a number that shows where NBL is at. It's not just actually about the JackJumpers. It's about what's been done by the NBL, by all the clubs, and some of those proceeds, a significant amount of those proceeds, is going to go back to some of the other clubs as a sign of respect and what's been created by us as a group. NBL is not just NBL in itself. It's made up of its license holders with the clubs. So some of those proceeds will go towards that. And I have to say, the balance of the proceeds, of the net proceeds that we receive as a group, is going to be a fraction of what I hope to invest into Wilkinson's Point. So I want to continue doing business in Tasmania and keep showing that we're here to keep investing. And yes, I'm a business person, and commercial outcomes are a measure of success, but for me it's much more than that. I can find ways to invest on the mainland, but I choose to come to Tasmania and invest here and do business here because of the people here, because of the government here and the opportunities here. And quite frankly, you know, I'm 58 and I'm lucky enough to be able to choose where and what I do, and I choose Tasmania to come and conduct business and have fun and enjoy and do meaningful things. JackJumpers have been very meaningful, stadium's been very meaningful, and Wilkinson's Point is probably the hardest one of the 3 so far, but I'm up for the challenge.
You're pretty keen to get a Tasmanian partner early on. Can you talk us through that process and how close you might have been? I think you said in the end it wasn't about money for you, but so was it close?
I said it to Ben, and I'll share it. He was by far, in my mind, the best choice of the every either overseas or Australian mainland owner that I met. He was actually a very easy decision, and I think you'll find once you get to know him why I feel that way. He'll fit into the fibre of Tasmania really well, him and his family and the way they think about the JackJumpers. But my first choice and my first preference would have been a Tasmanian ownership group, and for all sorts of different reasons we couldn't quite get there, and it was not a commercial question. Quite interestingly, some of it was about not wanting the publicity, some of it was about how many people would need to be, who would be running the club. So I want you to know that we ran a very, very rigorous process to try to find either an individual or a consortium of Tasmanians that would be the owner, and I would have been very happy to do it on a less favourable commercial basis if I could make that happen. So we tried, we couldn't quite get there.
With some of the money you'll get from the sale, I think Beck Thomas put out a release this morning, who's an independent politician here, saying could some of that go back into community courts here, given basketball sort of struggling for space and numbers and things like that. And second part to that question, the money that will be distributed through the league, do the JackJumpers get any of that, or is that for the other 9 clubs? No,
it's for the other 9 clubs and ourselves as the owners of the JackJumpers. In regard to Beck's comments, I think it's definitely on us to think about and be part of the solution. Someone said that almost it's myself that created the problem of the lack of courts because there's more kids participating, but I would say that's an opportunity. If it's a problem, the fact that more kids are actually out playing sport and out being behind from their digital devices, then I'm guilty as charged. As far as the solution, I think everyone's got to come together for that solution. So myself and also Ben have actually started thinking about how do we as a business come together with councils, with government to solve that problem, working with Basketball Tasmania. How do we come up with a solution? So we will work on that, and if there's some financial contribution needed as part of the solution, then I'm absolutely open to that.
Thank you and welcome, and thanks for your time this morning. So obviously Altor Capital is extremely proud to be able to become an owner in this amazing club, which obviously holds deep significance to the state of Tasmania. Altor Capital is an alternative asset management business, and what does that mean? Well, that means that we have capital that we invest into businesses, and we provide that capital to help those businesses grow. So we see an amazing opportunity here in Tasmania to be able to continue to invest and build on the fantastic work that everyone's done here around me. I think it's certainly very evident when we first became aware of the opportunity, just how much of an amazing opportunity this was, and the great work that everyone's done in building this club. So, for us, it's about really building on the great foundations. There's no desire to change what's going on, whether that at the board, at the management team, with the staff. We're really keen just to continue to support the business and provide all the things that we can provide as professional owners of companies, provide them with all the things they need to achieve success. So that's a bit about us and a bit about the opportunity, but thanks again for coming out.
When fans see private capital firm buy a sports team, sometimes the alarm bells can run off,
Yeah.
ticket prices get higher and all that sort of thing. What assurances can you give to the fans that the club is in safe hands?
Well, if it's not broken, then you don't need to fix it. I mean, that's the reality of it. And perhaps maybe there's a misconception out there that private investment companies might come in and change an organisation or change a business. But for us, it's really genuine. Why would we want to change? I mean, there's probably been no other greater success story than the JackJumpers, in the Australian sporting landscape over such a short period of time. So I think that's a genuine response: is why would we change? It just doesn't make any sense at all.
And where do you see the opportunities for that growth and the ability to take the club to the next level, I suppose?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been well publicised. We share the same vision as Larry and the board and the management team around where those opportunities are, whether it's upgrading the stadium here, obviously a development that's going on at Silverdome, the WNBL, which is obviously, I think, a massive opportunity. So for us, there's going to be a lot of work to be done to execute on a lot of those initiatives. So for us, that's the growth opportunity: is how do we help provide arms and legs and all the things that we can do, advice, to help those things come to life, and work with the government, work with the board and management team and the state and the people to really make that happen.
How important is WNBL to you and your group, man?
Super important, vital actually. So we spent a lot of time working with all the stakeholders. So I think that's, and there's obviously some work to be done to get that all kind of tied up, and it's been kind of well publicised. So I won't make any comment on it in particular, but certainly having a WNBL franchise over here is vital.
You came to a game early in the season opener, and
Yep.
Your lovely wife was telling me about sort of your initial impressions. Can you just sum up what your initial thoughts and sort of how that sparked the motivation to continue those conversations?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you've always got to be conscious of what we call confirmation bias. That is, you walk into an opportunity and everything's amazing and fantastic. But what I can say is that it was really genuine. And we had an amazing time. I brought my wife down, and it was clearly very different to anything we've experienced before. So even having that natural filter around confirmation bias, I think it was still really evident that what had been built here was just fantastic, and it just meant that we wanted to be part of it.
How often do you think you'll be, or members of your group will be in Tasmania?
as much as we should be. I think at the moment we don't have a full schedule, as everyone can appreciate. It's been a pretty chaotic couple of months just getting through the process we need to get through. There's a lot of due diligence that we've gone through, and now it's about taking a bit of a deep breath and really starting to set the plan out. So we've already started those conversations with Christine and Steve. So that will be something that will be worked on over the coming weeks and months, but we'll be down here regularly meeting with the team and seeing how we can help.
And nice to have Larry there for 2 years, I guess, just to ease into it.
Yeah, well, I think it's fantastic the way that the arrangement's been organised. There really is a great benefit to both of us that we have Larry around to help and be there as part of the transition. But obviously Larry was keen to continue to be involved. So what an amazing outcome that we can both come up with an arrangement where everyone's really happy. So we're super pleased to have Larry along on the journey with us. It's been a lot of fun in the last couple of months working with Larry and his team, as well as obviously working with Christine and Steve and the staff. So it's been a really good journey so far.
How grateful I am to all the people that helped us start this club. These sort of things don't happen by just me coming up with a great idea and building a structure and government. Just the number of individuals that have contributed their time well beyond, starting with Christine. I mean, she's a CEO and she's a paid employee, but it's way, way beyond that. It's passion, it's commitment, the Steve Olds, the board, Karen Nylander, everyone that's been on the journey. The sponsors here are like no other. There are partners and they're people that are so passionate about the club. So I just want to acknowledge everyone that has been on the journey, continues to go on the journey. And when we talk about growing the club, there was a chapter, if you look at it as a never-ending book, there's a chapter that I have been so proud to start, write the initial narrative and continue. I'm handing over a period of 2 years to Ben, and there'll probably be chapters after Ben. But I think the fact that the club is now established, so ingrained, I certainly want to keep working hard to grow it for the people of Tasmania. That's ultimately what the biggest pleasure I get, is coming and seeing the people, and that'll be the success of the club as well. So you've got AFL coming here, which is amazing. You're going to hopefully have something great here in the winter, and we're the summer sport, where kids all year round, families all year round can get inspiration, aspiration, positivity, the 2 hours and something to look forward to, both from health benefits, mental health benefits, all the things that sport brings. To have that 12 month of the year is just so special. So just know, I look at myself just someone who wrote a particular chapter, the start of the book. I'm handing that over slowly to make sure that the growth continues, but the JackJumpers hopefully will be here well beyond my time or Ben's, and here in the state forever, and working with the government to make sure that the infrastructure is there to allow that growth to happen, whether it's the stadium or WNBL, is just so special for Tasmania and its people, because I remember how they felt before this was here. They want for something like this, and now you have it. They love it, and they'll continue to love it, and I see that every day in every conversation. Literally last night being picked up by an Uber driver who was so passionate about the JackJumpers, except I got told off for the fact that his 3 different families have to share 4 tickets. Apart from that, it was all super positive, and he wanted to know when he can get more seats. So I'm just very proud, and it's not the end for me. It's 2 more years of helping Ben and Altor Capital continue the amazing story that's been created, and I will look for any other excuse to continue working in Tasmania. So thank you very much.